Starting off our show this evening with King Ginger from out of Gingerland in Nevis, and we come to you on a Tuesday night to talk about the possibilities of a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. And we do that because we have the kind sponsorship of two good companies.
Life's unpredictability is a constant reminder to be prepared. Let Nagico Insurances safeguard what matters most to you. Our comprehensive medical coverage includes dental, vision, and preventative care, ensuring your well-being. With a range of life insurance options, we assist in estate planning and cover significant expenses like education or home ownership. Contact Nagico now for tailored coverage that suits your needs. Nagico Insurances. Fast, fair, and always there.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our Airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
Thank you very much, TDC and Nagico Insurances. And I'm Carlisle Powell. I'll be with you until 9:40 this evening as we engage in discussions on this bridge, which I very well fancy between Nevis and St. Kitts. You can reach us and be a part of the show as well. And you get your pen and your pencil, your marker, or your phone, and take down these numbers, because these are the numbers that you can use this evening to be a part of the show and to let me have your input. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me if it makes sense for us to be engaging in discussions of having a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. And our numbers are 669-7312. That's 669-7312. We have an overseas line, especially if you're in the US. You can call us on 917-460-2187. That is 917-460-2187 and 469-7953. 469-7953. And those are the numbers that you can use to get us this evening and on any of our live shows, so that you can be a part of the discussions. And we are always happy to entertain our listeners and our viewers so that you can be on the record. St. Kitts and Nevis became independent in 1983, 19th of December. And those of us who were around were very happy to be out late at night to watch our flag ascend at midnight, and for us to be able to tell people that we are independent in words, and independent hopefully in thought, and independent in our actions. Well, since we became independent back then in 1983, we have seen Antigua, just next door, become the home of the fourth branch of the University of the West Indies. What we have are offshore universities. And just the same way that Nevis was able to open a sixth form branch and see so many people attend the sixth form in Nevis rather than the 2 or 3 or 4 on a good year that went down to St. Kitts. to the Technical College, now the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. It's the very same way that people were anticipating that St. Kitts and Nevis will have its own branch of a university, not just the offshore medical schools, which grant us the token 2 or so scholarships per year. But we were thinking, and we were thinking big. What do we depend on to keep us going? We have the offshore financial sector in Nevis since 1984. We have the CBI program, and we have tourism. And at this time of year in particular, we look to the horizons and we anticipate the arrival of ships with tourists, and especially in 2026, early in the year, where North America is having a particularly brutal winter, that we're looking towards the horizons and hoping that we'll see those ships coming to bring tourists to our shores. Tourism, the numbers have been fluctuating. Some year we have some really good numbers. And in St. Kitts, there is a second cruise ship pier which was built to accommodate the larger, in fact, the largest of the seagoing vessels that carry tourists. That is alongside pier number 1 down at Port Zante. In Nevis, we are not so lucky. We do not have a pier to accommodate those tourist ships. And even the smaller ones that come to Nevis have to anchor out in the stream, and the passengers come in by tender. We in Nevis would like to get an even bigger share of the pie. The last time I checked the numbers, I see people getting excited about 10 and 11,000 tourists coming to Nevis by sea. That's what some islands get in one day. We have been restricting ourselves to the smaller numbers, the smaller ships, the smaller numbers. And I've been advocating from this program that we need to position ourselves to get more. And how do we do that? We can do that by having a physical link between Nevis and St. Kitts. Because when those tourist ships come to St. Kitts, and you get an extra 50 or 100 tourists coming over by boat to visit Nevis, some people seem to get very excited that there was an extra 100. But what about an extra 2,000? What about having a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts so that the tour operators can truly sell 2 islands, 1 paradise? How do we market Nevis and St. Kitts? And in particular, how do we market Nevis to benefit from the greater numbers that we see going into St. Kitts by the bigger cruise ships? I mean, it is good that Randy and others can bring over people, and they can get some day trips around Nevis and have lunch and so on, go on the beach. But are we suggesting in 2026 that we are satisfied with Nevis spending a whole heap of money on tourism promotions, and at the end of the day standing up, looking into cameras and say, okay, all right, this year we had 30 ships and we had 11,000 cruise ship visitors. In 2026, really? But that is what we are consigned to, because we simply don't have the facilities on Nevis in terms of docking facilities to attract larger ships. And if we are not going to attract the larger ships, and we are not going to have the facilities whereby we can make it easy on the tourists, and bear in mind that a number of these ships that come to Nevis are bringing in people who are senior citizens. A percentage of those will have absolutely no desire to go on a tender, to come in, to have to get off of the tender onto the pier, and then to do whatever they fancy around Nevis, knowing that they're going to have to go back on the tender, to go back on the ship. Some of them are not going to be so minded. But if you were to say to these very same people who are coming into St. Kitts on the bigger ships, even senior citizens, listen, we're taking you on a tour, and that tour will take you in both islands. But once you get onto the tour vehicle, you don't have to get off again to take a boat to go to Nevis. Because we're going to take a very little short ride across a bridge. We'll get to Nevis, and then we're going to show you what Nevis has to offer. There is not a great deal magical that will set our islands apart from the other islands. As Dr. Hollis Liverpool sang many years ago, all we have is seawater, sun, and sand. What is the difference? What will make people say, okay, all right, I want to go to this island, even though I have to brave it on a boat? And I tell you something, since last night when I came to the studio to do a different show, you could hear the waves pounding on the rocks on the shoreline. Water has been rough for the last day and a half or so. And when I came to town today, I didn't even see the usual ferries, at least not on the northern side of the pier. But a bridge will not be disrupted by this kind of weather. No, it will be able to operate. Talking to a friend of mine today, and he said, listen, I normally go home to St. Kitts in the evening. I'm not going to take the chance today. I'm going to leave early because the water is a little bit rough. And I looked at him, and as I was about to speak, he said to me, yes, we need the bridge. It's a message I've been preaching for more than a year. I mean, I keep telling people, let's do the bridge. And let's make it so that the bridge alone would be an attraction. Not for the purposes of transporting people or allowing transportation and the connection between Nevis and St. Kitts. That is a given. But the bridge itself should be an attraction by day and by night. It has to be built in such a fashion that it makes a statement that people will go to see the bridge just to say that I've seen the bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. So that people will go to see the bridge at nights because it stands out as a landmark. We're going to have to be very creative. And the lighting is going to have to be of a nature that it can change. So that at Independence Time, you want to see that bridge lit up in the colors of the flag. So that at Christmas time, you see Christmas colors. And people associate Christmas with a lot of red, some white. Let the bridge itself make a statement. But the biggest statement that that bridge will make is that it will reduce the cost of living for us, and in particular those of us who live in Nevis. I still wonder, why is it that successive governments from 1983 until now have failed to understand the importance, economic and otherwise, of a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts? Why is it that we believe that in 2026 and beyond, that we should still have to wait on boats to get us from Nevis to St. Kitts when we have seen bridges all over the world reduce costs, reduce time spent traveling, and reduce the headaches associated with not being able to travel when the weather turns bad? And so we've been saying to you, let's do it. We have had billions from the CBI program. And I'm saying that having collected so much money from the Citizenship by Investment program, we have failed the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have failed our many visitors. We have failed family and friends who live abroad by not making it easier for us to commute between Nevis and St. Kitts. And when you look at it, as somebody said to me last week when I was at cricket, he said, listen, you know, this is like when you get a bonus. The CBI funds that we collected, it's like when you get a bonus. And you tell yourself, listen, I really want to invest in something that will live. Really want to make an investment in some shares in a company. I want to add to this and make an investment in a piece of land. I want to put this in a fixed deposit, and you don't do any of the above. And then a year later, you are looking to see what became of that windfall that you had that you call a bonus, and you can't find a single dollar. We collected billions from the CBI, more than enough to build the bridge, but we didn't. And I'm still waiting for some government, any minister of finance, any prime minister, to say to us, over the period of time that we have had the CBI program, we have collected 30 billion. Our investments from that 30 billion or whatever the figure is have totaled $250 million in interest payments and otherwise. It's going to be higher than that, but I'm just pulling a number. And so we have spent X amount on these various programs, and in the CBI fund at the moment we have X amount of money. I really would have loved if, as a part of that accounting, we were able to say, and we have a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts that cost us 300 million and which was absolutely, totally funded by the CBI program. I mean, I'm looking for something physical. I'm looking for something practical. I'm looking for something worthwhile. I'm looking for something memorable that the CBI funds can sponsor for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I live in Nevis. Love St. Kitts, but I think I love Nevis a lot more. So I am going to live in Nevis. But I want the cost of living to be reduced. And we reduce the cost of living by reducing the cost of our imports. And how do we do that? You do that by building a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. Because the cost of bringing goods into Nevis is just too expensive. It's ridiculously expensive. I mean, I'm not blaming the business people who operate the boats. If the market determines that you can get $1,500 for a container or $2,000 for a container between Nevis and St. Kitts, take it. I'm not blaming them at all. And the business people are going to pay whatever the charge is for the container. But they are not so kind and benevolent that they are going to say that they are going to suck up that cost. They are going to pass it on with interest to us, the consumers. And that is why I've been asking our governments to think carefully about having this bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. We're coming back just after this.
Life's unpredictability is a constant reminder to be prepared. Let Nagico Insurances safeguard what matters most to you. Our comprehensive medical coverage includes dental, vision, and preventative care, ensuring your well-being. With a range of life insurance options, we assist in estate planning and cover significant expenses like education or home ownership. Contact Nagico now for tailored coverage that suits your needs. Nagico Insurances. Fast, fair, and always there.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our Airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
Welcome back to Bridging the Gap. I'm with you until 9:40 this evening. Now, when you look at Nevis in particular, and St. Kitts and Nevis as a state, you recognize that we have had a couple of very imaginative projects. And one that stands out quite clearly would undoubtedly be the Southeast Peninsula Road. That is a road which was done back in the 80s. Dr. Kennedy Simmons, his government decided to open up the southeast of St. Kitts. And I remember that there was a company here out of Puerto Rico. I don't know why the name Redondo sticks in my mind, but I believe that that is the name of the company that did that massive undertaking. Had to survey that whole virgin area and had to lay out the road, do quite a bit of blasting, and some people were thinking at that time that it was a waste of money. Years later, many years later, as you look back, you recognize that if the federal government were to do such a project now in 2026, start a project of that nature in 2026, the cost of doing that Southeast Peninsula Road would be exorbitant. But there was imagination and good thinking heading back 40-something years ago. And it led to the opening up of the entire southeast portion of St. Kitts. If you've driven that road, you will see the developments, some. And you will recognize that that indeed has transformed St. Kitts and to an extent Nevis. Because it led to new businesses. It led to new areas for homes. And that is exactly what you want to do with your thinking. You have to open up new areas. That is why I'm here on a Tuesday night to explain to you, the public, why it is so urgent and important for us to build on that phase one. Because before the Southeast Peninsula Road and you wanted to get over to Salpan and so on, if you were brave enough, you could hike it. But there are persons who took boats and went to visit that area. But the imagination was there to do something like that. So why not expand our imagination and say it is time for phase 2? If phase 1 was to build that road to get to the tip, the southeasterly tip of St. Kitts, then phase 2 must certainly be to continue that road via a bridge to get into Nevis. And just how those lands in that area were opened up, this is my way of saying that you will open up Nevis. You will make it cheaper and easier for the tourism product that we have in Nevis to be accessed by people who get into St. Kitts. And why not? I mean, people come to St. Kitts and they hear about the hot water baths and they want to come and spend a little 15 minutes in the hot water bath. But they also want to do a tour of Nevis. So why not join in that tour from St. Kitts, from Port Zante, and take whatever bus, whatever transportation you're on, and come straight to Nevis and have this tour of Nevis. The bridge itself will attract people and will cause people to want to go on it. And we've taken time to show you bridges from all around the world, and this is going to continue to be a feature of the program, because we want people to understand that this bridge that I'm talking about is not something which is unique to Nevis and St. Kitts. It is not some dream that somebody had, and so there is somebody out there just talking about a bridge. This is something that has been imagined in other areas of the world, and where people have thought about it and people have actually gone ahead and built bridges. This is something that will reduce the transportation time between Nevis and St. Kitts, reduce the cost of moving goods between Nevis and St. Kitts, and ultimately will reduce the cost of the goods on the shelves. And so this is why I keep saying to people, it is okay for our leaders, our Prime Minister and our Premier, who run through passports fast, unless they tell immigration don't stamp their passports, please. Because they're always on a plane somewhere. But you're not going to find the bridge on a plane. You're not going to find the bridge out there waiting for you someplace. Especially when you travel all areas of the world, our leaders, and they don't mention the idea of having a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts so that you can start by designing the bridge. I've never heard them say that they want to have public consultations to hear from the people about a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. But they're on a plane all over the world all the time. Last year, our Premier was out of Nevis for more than 70 days. And this year, in the month of January, he's already doing well. He's off the island again, someplace in Mexico, to talk about geothermal. And geothermal has not made any advancement since the NRP left office in 2013. We have heard that we were going to get geothermal in 2017, in 2018, and every year since then. But we have had no advancements. Every now and again you hear about monies, and we have money to do this and to do that and to do the production wells, and they have awarded a contract and all of that. But show me the progress that has been made in geothermal while we have been talking. But I come to you to talk about the bridge, and I'll be here on a Tuesday night so that we can keep it current, because we want to be able to ensure that Nevis will benefit from such a venture. And I said to you that Nevis will benefit more from a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts than St. Kitts. The RLB International Airport is in St. Kitts. Our people who come from international, most of the international cities and so on, come into St. Kitts and then take boats to get to Nevis. What about allowing them to take the bridge? This is something that I'm asking people to consider. Why is it that we're living in 2026 and having to take boats like our ancestors did in the 50s and the 40s and the 30s? Why is it that we're not thinking big? Why is it that we don't want to do something that people will reflect on and say, you know, I remember in the year 2026 that there was this man on the radio talking about a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. And here it is. There is that bridge. Because this particular leader thought that it would be a good idea and went ahead and made sure that we now have a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. Why do we keep thinking about the little small projects? And so you have a little anthill here and a little anthill there. And we don't want to think about a mountain. Something significant. Something life-changing. Something like a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. I mean, what is there that we offer people to come to see? We don't have any rivers. Well, we don't have any trams that are taking people to the top of the mountain. I've seen some escalators in places like China where they're taking people up 3,000 feet. I'm not asking for all of that. I'm asking for a bridge that will cover 3 miles between Nevis and St. Kitts. That is all that I'm asking. And I'm saying to people that this project will have a greater economic impact on Nevis than some of the little fluff things that we are doing. That is why we need to get out and make sure that we sound our voices. And we tell people that this project is a meaningful project. We're going to be showing you a bridge tonight. And again, I always compliment our technical team who do the research and provide all of these bridges for people to look, see. And this week, we have another fresh bridge to show you. And we're doing all of this so that people could understand the importance of bridging the gap between Nevis and St. Kitts. But before we show you that bridge, I always like to go back to CBI and what the CBI funds are capable of doing. And I always like to go down to Dominica, just next door, to hear how they are using their CBI funds. So we're going down to Dominica. When we come from Dominica, we're going to show you the new bridge that we have for tonight.
The CBI program's contribution to Dominica's economy and sustainable development has been immense. Its revenues have funded national projects in infrastructure, healthcare, education, housing, tourism, and climate resilience, namely a new international airport, geothermal energy facilities, major hotel developments, climate resilient homes, 12 new health centers, school construction and renovations, the new Marigot Hospital, the Capritz Marina in Portsmouth, and the cable car system, to name a few.
Thank you very much, Madam President. We'll get to the bridge right after we say thank you to our sponsors.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our Airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
Life's unpredictability is a constant reminder to be prepared. Let Nagico Insurances safeguard what matters most to you. Our comprehensive medical coverage includes dental, vision, and preventative care, ensuring your well-being. With a range of life insurance options, we assist in estate planning and cover significant expenses like education or home ownership. Contact Nagico now for tailored coverage that suits your needs. Nagico Insurances. Fast, fair, and always there.
Thank you very much to our sponsors. Now, let's go to Scotland.
When the Queensferry crossing completed, it joined the Forth Road Bridge and the Forth Rail Bridge as the third striking engineering icon to cross the Forth of Firth in Scotland. The three bridges, the first completed in the 19th century, the second in the 20th, and the latest in the 21st century, represent 3 centuries of engineering excellence. Here, we take a look at the crossings and discover how each one represents the engineering pinnacle of their day. There has been a crossing route over the Forth since Margaret, Queen of Scotland, founded a ferry to take pilgrims north to St Andrews in the 12th century. Now, almost 1,000 years later, the 3 crossings form an important part of Scotland's transport infrastructure. The ferry remained the only way to cross the Forth until the Victorian era, when the rapid expansion of the railways became the catalyst for a permanent crossing. Bridging the 1.5-mile span would connect Edinburgh to Fife and dramatically reduce the rail travel time between London and Aberdeen from 13 to 8.5 hours. The resultant bridge, completed in 1890, is the world's most famous cantilever and an iconic symbol of Scotland that in 2016 was voted the country's greatest man-made wonder. When it opened in 1890, the Forth Bridge had the world's longest single cantilever span. It's still in operation and now carries 200 trains every day. In 2015, the bridge was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The rail bridge would remain the sole crossing over the Forth for the next 70 years, and it was only the rise of a different form of transport, the car, that prompted the development of a second bridge. While the first proposals for a road bridge were made in 1923, it wasn't until the 1950s that construction on a crossing actually began. Like its older sister, the Forth Road Bridge is itself a cutting-edge piece of engineering. The suspension bridge was the largest in Europe when it completed, and including its approach viaducts, stretches for over 1.5 miles. The Forth Road Bridge opened to traffic in 1964 and was designated a Category A listed structure in 2001. Corrosion and increasing traffic loads led to the towers being strengthened in the 1990s and the 768 hangar ropes being replaced in 2000. Despite these renovations and significant investment, in 2007 a new bridge was commissioned. Billed as Scotland's largest construction project in a generation, this new bridge, the Queensferry Crossing, now stands proudly alongside its illustrious neighbours. The striking piece of engineering is the tallest bridge in the UK and the longest 3-tower cable-stayed bridge in the world. It largely replaces the existing road bridge, is expected to carry 24 million vehicles each year and will remain open in all weathers. Learning from the previous bridge, the Queensferry crossing has been designed with longevity in mind. Key to this is the fact that each of the individual cables can be replaced as part of the bridge's regular maintenance, and significantly, this process can take place without having to close the bridge to traffic.
The Queensferry crossing, completed in 2017, stands not only as a marvel of contemporary engineering, but also as a critical component of Scotland's transportation history. The Firth of Forth has long been a vital artery in Scotland's infrastructure, linking Edinburgh and the Lothians with Fife and the northern regions. The Queensferry crossing, the newest of three iconic bridges spanning the estuary, represents both a solution to modern transportation demands and a continuation of a rich historical tradition. The selected design, a cable-stayed bridge with 3 towers, allowed for a long central span with fewer piers in the water, reducing environmental destruction. Key features included total length of 2.7 kilometers, 1.7 miles, with a main span of 650 meters. 3 slender towers, reaching heights of up to 210 meters, the tallest in the UK. Use of a unique arrangement of crossing cables for added stability. Wind shielding technology, enabling operation during severe weather. Implementation of an intelligent transport system, ITS, to manage traffic flows. The bridge's aesthetics were also carefully considered, ensuring it harmonized with the adjacent historic bridges. The Queensferry crossing incorporated multiple sustainability measures. Environmental assessments influenced the final alignment to minimize ecological impact. The reuse of land and material reduced carbon emissions by an estimated 7,000 tons. The ITS technology, including variable speed limits and traffic monitoring, helps to reduce congestion and pollution. The bridge also serves as a model for digital infrastructure, with embedded sensors that provide real-time data on structural health, wind speeds, and traffic loads. These technologies contribute to predictive maintenance and operational efficiency. The bridge's completion symbolized progress and national pride. It stands alongside the Forth Bridge, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the Forth Road Bridge, creating a trio of crossings representing 3 centuries of engineering. Economically, the Queensferry crossing enhances regional connectivity, supporting trade, tourism, and daily commuting. It alleviates congestion, reduces travel times, and increases reliability across the central belt of Scotland. Culturally, it reinforces Scotland's image as a leader in engineering innovation and sustainable development. The bridge was officially opened by Queen Elizabeth II on the 4th of September 2017, exactly 53 years after she opened the Forth Road Bridge. The Queensferry crossing is more than a bridge. It is a statement of ambition, resilience, and foresight. Built to address urgent transport needs, it also honors the legacy of the Forth as a place of crossing, commerce, and connection. Its history reflects the evolving challenges of infrastructure development in a changing world. By blending engineering excellence with environmental and cultural sensitivity, the Queensferry crossing has earned its place not only as a critical piece of infrastructure, but as a defining symbol of 21st century Scotland.
Life's unpredictability is a constant reminder to be prepared. Let Nagico Insurances safeguard what matters most to you. Our comprehensive medical coverage includes dental, vision, and preventative care, ensuring your well-being. With a range of life insurance options, we assist in estate planning and cover significant expenses like education or home ownership. Contact Nagico now for tailored coverage that suits your needs. Nagico Insurances. Fast, fair, and always there.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our Airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. That's a show that we do on a Tuesday night, except the first Tuesday in the month, where we talk about bridging the gap between Nevis and St. Kitts. And thank you to the technical team for providing those bridges from Scotland. And I'm not talking about multiple bridges. I'm talking about just having one single bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. I'm not even asking for 6 lanes. I'd be satisfied if we started with a 2 lanes, so that we can move between Nevis and St. Kitts seamlessly. And you know, my conservative estimates suggest that just the first day of operation, I expect upwards of 150,000 vehicles to use this bridge. Upwards of 150,000. And I'm not expecting the cost to be prohibitive. So if it's $100 each way between Nevis and St. Kitts by boat, I mean, who knows? I'm hoping that the operators would come in with a special price to begin for small vehicles of $50 each way. But that's only me talking. The owners and the operators will make a decision on that. But could you imagine moving a container between Nevis and St. Kitts, and the move cost truckers, say $100, $150? If you say $150, the truckers who are pulling containers will gladly pay. Why? Because if they're paying $1,500 now, and you tell them, hey, listen, the toll is $150, they're going to say to you, hey, listen, you sure that's all? And you collect your $150. Listen, there are owners and operators of businesses who consolidate their cargo now because it's, let's say $1,500. I like to use that number. To travel between Nevis and St. Kitts with that container. These fellas are going to be telling you, no, if you're charging me $150 or even $200 one way, as opposed to $1,500, I can now start moving. Instead of 5 containers, I can move 15. And not only that, they don't have to wait until the boats are operating. You can decide, hey, listen, I have 10 containers to pull to Nevis, or from Nevis to St. Kitts, and I want to start moving those containers at midnight. There is nobody who is going to tell you that no, the first boat is leaving at 6 a.m. You want to start moving your containers at midnight, you start moving them at midnight, so that by the time the sun comes up, you have already positioned your containers where you want them, whether from St. Kitts to Nevis or Nevis to St. Kitts, wherever. But as it is right now, it is a burden having to wait. Having to wait on the schedule for the boats that pull the containers. The cost is a burden. And that cost becomes a burden to you and me, because we have to pay that cost in terms of the prices that we pay to move the goods from the shelves. And as a result of that, I believe that the sales are a little bit slower than they should be here in Nevis. Because even in 2026, you still have a significant number of persons who are going down to St. Kitts to do their shopping. And Nevis lose revenue. Because we decided as smart people to keep the VAT which is collected in Nevis from 13,200 people. Instead of pooling that VAT with St. Kitts, where they have another 40,000 people. So we keep our own little small cupcake, and our people eat our cupcake and still go down to St. Kitts to eat piece of that bigger 10-inch cake. And as a result, the VAT that people from Nevis who go to St. Kitts to shop pay in St. Kitts stays in St. Kitts. But we are smart. We say we are smart. And so, listen, I want our people to start thinking and thinking big. You're going to have to hold the politicians to account. Barbados will go to the polls tomorrow. St. Kitts and Nevis is in the future. Last time we voted was in 2022. 2 plus 5 equals 7. So we're talking about 2027. But who knows, it could very well be 2026. When your politicians come to see you, you have to start to ask them, what are your views on a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts? When are you going to start talking to us about that bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts? How do you think the economy of Nevis will be impacted if we have a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts? How will it affect the cost of living for you and your family? You got to start asking them the questions. You have to start talking to them this way, because they're coming to you to say, hey, listen, I want you to vote for me. And you must say to them, hey, listen, I want a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. I want us to think seriously about that, because more than anything else, that is going to help you as the average person living in Nevis. And you don't want to wait until 2040 to start talking about a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. Remember, I told you that if the Southeast Peninsula Road was to be built now, the cost would be mind-boggling. Why didn't we build that bridge in 1990, in 2000? What are we waiting for? I mean, it's not that it's going to get cheaper the longer you wait, because the cost of material and shipping and so on continues to go up. So the time is now for us to stand up and to get moving and to ensure that we can light the necessary fire that will result in us having a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. Years ago, here in Nevis, the owners of Cliff Dwellers had a tram to take goods and people from the bottom of the hill right up to the top of the hill in Cliff Dwellers. That was good thinking. Years ago, if you wanted to get to Salpan over in St. Kitts, you had to take a boat. There's a road now. And I'm saying to people, the time has come for us to seriously consider and to plan for a bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts. I mean, really, what are we waiting for? I'm sure that I've shown you at least 20 bridges in various parts of the world, and we'll have another new bridge next week. And all of these bridges were planned over time. Some took longer than some. Some people didn't understand the message of bridging the gaps where those bridges were built, but eventually people came around. And I respectfully believe that in the first year of operation, any bridge between Nevis and St. Kitts will make a minimum of $10 million. Minimum of $10 million. Because you're talking about a facility that will be used year-round. that will be used 24 hours a day. Listen, time flies when you're having fun, and an hour has come and gone. So I'm going to again thank the people who make sure that we're here in terms of our sponsors. And then we're going to be back with you next week to continue the conversation. And the numbers will remain the same. So that if you want to get in on the show, you just call us. And we'll make sure that your views are heard. But again, thanks to Nagico and TDC. See you next week.
Life's unpredictability is a constant reminder to be prepared. Let Nagico Insurances safeguard what matters most to you. Our comprehensive medical coverage includes dental, vision, and preventative care, ensuring your well-being. With a range of life insurance options, we assist in estate planning and cover significant expenses like education or home ownership. Contact Nagico now for tailored coverage that suits your needs. Nagico Insurances. Fast, fair, and always there.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our Airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
You're listening to 2020 Vision Radio